Hello and welcome to Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Sanjiv.
And I'm Sanjiv Pandya.
Every week we'll cover the latest headlines and top stories in the Indian community. Sanjiv, let's start off with our top story for this week.
Yeah, exactly. And this top story has to do with somebody leaving. I don't know if February, March of the year is when this, political dignitaries either they retire or they leave. A couple of weeks ago, we reported that India's CG, Consul General Prabhu Dayal, retired,
right.
And we have a new CG now. And here comes another story.
Yeah, as you know, India has had its second term of presidency at the UN Security Council, and the man in charge has been Indian Ambassador Hardeep Singh Puri.
Right.
And now he's saying goodbye to the Indian Foreign Services after 39 years of service to the nation.
Right. He said he was born in the family where his father served as a civil servant.
Right.
So he said, I was born to serve, and I'm happy for every single minute and every single a year has been spent in the office, and I think he has previously served in London, Japan, Brazil, Geneva, and New York. And I think he's the first one that comes across that he said going to write a book after he retires and after he takes some time off.
Right, right. Yeah, it seems that he's going to write a book on the doctrine of responsibility and also on Libya. He has several views on that. Yeah, but we actually interviewed Hardeep Singh Puri on our show, Eye on South Asia, so you can check out that episode. It's the past couple of episodes, I believe.
Interesting.
But yeah, he had talked about how he used to travel with his father, going around to different locations and really getting an interest for foreign services as he was growing up. And he also talked about how he has really seen a transformation of the ministry as well as the young country of India since 1947, since independence.
Correct.
So he's seen a lot of change during his time. He also had a lot to say, upon leaving about issues with terrorism and still things that need to be tied up when it comes to relations with India and the rest of the world. India, he feels, needs to really have better relationships with their neighbors.
Right.
That is one thing that he feels will kind of curb things like terrorism and those sorts of things.
We wish Mr. Hardeep Puri a happy retired life.
Yes, and one other thing is he also encourages young professionals to take up a career in foreign service, and he says it's a great career opportunity.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, so speaking of fantastic career opportunities, Indians are now among the top 4 sources for business studies in college.
They were there before. India was there like 10 years ago, and then it fell off, and now it's back in the top 4 list along with the US, China, South Korea, and now India.
Why do you suppose there was like this lag in between?
I guess
they seem to be joining a lot of the tech fields.
Yeah, exactly. So now after almost 10 years, now India has joined in the list of top 4 countries where students like to exchange their business programs, where they like to go in there and get more study on the business and improve their knowledge. I'm not surprised about China and South Korea being in there.
Yeah.
And then of course US and India. US also had a little bit of fallout because of their restrictions on visas and many other, mainly immigration matters. But now US is back in the list also.
Right. Indian students still, they're very high, they're top ranking in science and math and engineering, but we are seeing a lot of growth for business studies. Now, typically Indian students have immigrated to the US for graduate programs, and that's where the majority of the students come from. In fact, 77% is the number there. But now we're seeing a lot more undergraduate students joining these programs, and especially in business. Undergraduate students in business have grown about 60% over the last 7 or 8 years.
True. And this is actually a study done by World Education Services known as WES.
Right. So we do see a lot of students, taking up MBAs, even while they're in the career path and so on. That
remains one of the most popular business schools, MBAs.
Right, exactly. So business is now the buzzword, and the US has actually termed New Delhi as one of the most trusted and valuable partners in the region of South Asia, I should say. And they're also sharing concerns with India on its recently declining growth rate within the past year. Robert Blake, the Assistant Secretary for South and Central Asia, he spoke at a congressional hearing saying several statements very strongly that any discussion of South Asia should actually start with India.
Mm-hmm.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, he has several things to say about the economic problems that have struck India, and he says that any economic problem for India has to be treated as a problem for the U.S. as well. You know, he's saying he's mainly targeting this growth rate, declining growth rate, because of the declining foreign investment issue, and he is saying that the government, and as we already know, but he's just reiterating, he's saying that the government has been tied up with corruption scandals and really has wasted so much time and resources over so many years, and so little has gotten done. But he does say, this is very interesting, that India is positioned to be the third largest economy by 2025.
Which is not new to you know, any one of us. And obviously, I think India really has a capability of being a second most you know, powerful nation in the world after U.S. But considering all the other factors which are really, you know, dampening the progress on India, corruption and the other things, if government really works on it, controls them well, then India could have a very, you know, strong impact in the world.
Right now, Japan is in number 3, and India is in number 10.
Number
so
10.
They would have to actually overtake Japan in order to get to number 3. But you know, it's possible. Anything's possible. All right. So certain places in India actually have better economies than others. Gujarat being one of the strongest.
Absolutely.
So. Speaking of which, Narendra Modi has had some difficulties in recent times.
The Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, who actually has really done a fantastic job in turning around, you know, not only Gujarat state, but putting Gujarat state on a world map and contributing Gujarat state's growth rate to India's growth rate significantly. And he's been a CM since last 10 years, recently elected third time. We talked about that. And U.S. is the only country who's been denying visa, you know, for him to come to U.S. because back in 2002, when the riots actually occurred in Gujarat, they said that Chief Minister Narendra Modi did not do anything to prevent the riot. That is the reason that they are denying him a visa. And now the story comes in, this Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania's you know, Wharton School of Business, they actually do this every year, a business forum, where they invite dignitaries and business leaders. I know in the past, Ambanis and the Tatas have attended this Wharton School of Business. So when they announced that Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi will address the attendees via live video conference, it was surprising, but it was a very good news for everybody, because that way Chief Minister Narendra Modi can share his vision and thoughts and ideas and how he has really turned the state of Gujarat around.
Right, especially after being recently re-elected.
Exactly, and making Gujarat state as one of the top states, I think number 2 or number 3 in India. And also Narendra Modi has positioned himself as a strong contender for Prime Minister in the next year's elections.
Right.
So all those things, you know, sounded very good until University of Pennsylvania's professors objected to have Narendra Modi as a panelist, as one of the members, and then everything just kind of took it downhill from there. They had supporters sign in a letter, about 250 people signed in, and now final word is that Narendra Modi will not be addressing Wharton School of Business annual forum this year.
Right. The Wharton School of Business has actually canceled his entire speech, but the forum will still go on.
Right.
And this isn't the first time that U.S. Events have canceled his speeches, but several times he has resorted to doing teleconference, video conferencing. You know, he's been getting really innovative about bringing his message to the people in the United States. But what is it actually the U.S. that has the strongest opposition
yes,
to this?
because Modi has, has been to UK. UK government has welcomed him. He has been to China. He's been to other countries. US is the only one where US's Defense Department is taking a strong opposition of Narendra Modi visiting USA, because they are saying that he didn't do nothing to prevent that, a riot. I think it has to do with very strong right activists controlling somewhat or pressuring U.S. Department of Defense and everybody else, and not having Modi visit the U.S.
Right. Yeah, it seems that they're really kind of targeting one issue over and over. We're not still clear what Modi can possibly do to overcome this if he were to gain higher office in the future. That would be a real challenge to tackle in that case.
And there are two more points that we should mention there. Gujarat's one of the top industrialists named Gautam Adani, who actually heads Adani's group of industries. They are into various businesses, and it's one of the top most successful business industry in Gujarat. Gautam Adani being one of the top sponsors of this year's Wharton School of Business Forum, he has also backed out, because since Wharton School announced that Narendra Modi's speech is cancelled, Gautam Adani being a top sponsor, he has backed out.
Right. I mean, that makes sense, because he's not going there
it's
alone.
It's a strong protest. A couple of other personalities, I think, from the political level, and not to like very influential personalities, but a couple of other personalities have also cancelled their visit to UPenn's Wharton School of Business.
Right. He represents his entire state, so there's going to be a lot of support behind him as well.
And one more thing that I like to add is that even though Chief Minister Narendra Modi has not been to US in the last 10 years, he has always addressed a community through video conference.
Right.
And coincidentally, this Saturday, March 9th, he's scheduled to address Indian American community in Chicago and in New Jersey.
Oh, excellent. So and then that will be also through video conference?
Absolutely, yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, on that note of innovation, there's a very interesting story and proud moment for Indian community. Sugata Mitra, who's a professor of education technology at Newcastle University in UK, has been awarded the coveted $1 million TED Prize of 2013.
Right.
Now, TED is the nonprofit that brings together the best and brilliant minds in technology, design, entertainment.
That's what TED stands for: technology, entertainment, and design.
Exactly.
But his concept is really amazing.
It's excellent. So they have a forum for sharing ideas. They bring in all sorts of speakers from all around the world. Building organizations. And now Mitra has come up with this very bold idea, and he gave a wonderful speech. He talked about this idea to build a better place where children can explore and learn on their own using resources from cloud-based computing.
That's right.
And basically children would explore on their own, and they would teach each other. So it's kind of a peer shared knowledge network. And this is starting from very young kids. It's not like online programs for older, graduate students or anything like that.
I mean, the concept is very interesting, because he talks about this, the school system, which, began many centuries ago, right?
Right.
So he said, now we are saying his school system is broken, it's not working well, and he's saying it's not broken. It just, we look at it that way, that we don't need it anymore. And the entire of this cloud concept started with one thing: hole in the wall. Hole in the wall is that him and his friends, I think back in 1999, him and his colleagues at NIIT, a company that trains businesses to achieve optimum results in New Delhi, what they did is that they came up with this idea that in the urban area there was this compound, and they actually put a computer through the hole. Right, so that's why hole in the wall, and they actually monitor through the video camera what actually kids would do at a computer, and the kids, with their curiosity and eagerness, would go to the computer and try to learn the computer, and at the same time one kid would teach another kid how to use that computer, how to go online, and this and that. And that concept was so fascinating to Mr. Mitra and his colleagues. They came up with it that if there was a cloud technology, kids would never have to go to school, and they would actually help each other in the study.
Right, that's amazing. And they would never have to have a teacher
That's right, yeah.
as well. So that's very exciting. Schools in the cloud. That's the new
Just go to the
idea.
cloud. A hole in the wall makes a difference.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a short break.
All right.
And we'll be right back on Eye on South Asia.